Hello, welcome back to My Network. We're on day 2 at Precious Metals Summit in Beaver Creek, and I'm with Gareth Thomas, the CEO of Westhaven Gold. Hello, Gareth.
Thank you for having me.
No, more than welcome. Look, I think you're new to the channel. It's the first time on, so why don't you just give us a brief overview as to who Westhaven are, and then we'll dive in.
Sure. So Westhaven Gold Corp is a gold exploration company, solely focused in what's known as the Spence's Bridge Gold Belt in southwestern British Columbia. We have 4 projects there, covering a little over 60,000 hectares. And we recently announced, last year, I shouldn't say recent, we announced a preliminary economic assessment on our Shovel Nose project, what's known as the South Zone. So exploration, but advanced exploration, and moving ahead here as fast as we can.
Good. Yeah, so I was looking through, obviously, the PEA that you released last year, and sort of what you've been up to at the moment. It's good to hear that you're back drilling again and doing some more greenfield stuff. But I guess let's just talk about what's in the ground at the moment, where the value is at the moment. Obviously, in terms of cap structure, I think you're around, 22 million Canadian at the moment. In terms of the management team, you could say in a way there's an aspect of a family company to it.
There is.
You've got Gren, who's a mining hall of famer,
Yep.
your father, who's an absolute legend in this industry, and obviously yourself and your sister, who's now come on board as chairman, who's a wealth of experiences. Why don't we just talk a little bit about sort of the management and who's involved? Because I think credit to you guys, you've all had a pretty distinguished career.
Yeah, and I think you can safely say that about Gren and Ira, myself, hopefully one day. But even besides those names, I think we've built, over the past 13 years here, we've built a very good team that has a wealth of obviously experience in the business, but just a good group of people who love what they're doing in terms of trying to find more gold here. So yeah, myself, President CEO. Then we have Sean Pollard, who founded the company with myself in 2011. He's our CFO. Then we have Victor Tanaka, a wealth of knowledge and experience. We used to call Gren and Vic the gray hair, and that's sort of no longer. Then, we have just recently announced, or shouldn't have announced, a few months ago, we had a gentleman by the name of Fraser McCordle join our team in an advisory role, and he was last the general manager of exploration for Newcrest. So he'd been site a few times before, and happened to bump into him in Toronto and asked if he'd be interested, and so that's been really good having him on board. Then should certainly speak about Peter Fischel, our exploration manager, who was instrumental in finding this South Zone, and he spent about 12 years at Kupol in Russia with Kinross, and we were fortunate to get him a few years ago as well. So and that's not everybody, but we've made a really good team here, so we're proud of that.
Yeah, it's quite rare to have a junior company like this with the amount of experience that you've got behind you. Let's talk about what's in the ground at the moment. So obviously it's very high grade deposit. I think it's around 6 grams in the indicated, around 4 and a bit grams per ton in the inferred. I think there's obviously something there. You've found a system. I guess the next step now is for you to show scale of this thing, right? I think that is the next step. Why don't we talk about what is in the ground and what the geological prospectivity is where you are?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're like I said, and I try to hammer this home a lot. We're a team of explorationists predominantly, so we're very much still exploring. The PA backstops our value sitting here at, I think you said 22 million, which is less. It keeps going down, but not to dwell on the market, but we have this now with this PA that backstops at $1,800 gold, at $222 million NPV at an all-in sustaining cost of $752. It's you're sitting here going, how can we? But I mean, that's just a small chunk of our properties. But on that PA, we have about 650,000 indicated ounces at about 6.5 grams, which is a 9.5-year mine life at about 65,000. About 60,000 ounces a year. It's a good start, but for us, as mentioned, we want to find more of these, and anyone who's been to site, I'm talking a lot of bigger companies who've come to see what we have and look around, they're saying this is a very, I wouldn't say unique, well, it is unique being right off a highway, but to see this sort of mineralization, it's very strong, and no one really believes that there's only one sort of mineralized corridor, and our goal right now, and what we're doing, this last year being a lot of boots on ground, as I was saying earlier, is to try and find more of these vein zones or mineralized corridors. So, and I think we're on to something now, which we also discussed earlier, which we're drilling, which is actually 6 kilometers to the southeast of the South Zone, but it appears to be on trend. So we're excited about that, and that's comes from, once again, our team boots on ground and going through all sorts of data, and it takes time to capture all this data too, and you can go back to it, and it's always anyway, we've discovered quite a few things this year, just being back to the basics, prospecting, sampling, looking at our geophysics, just sort of having a refresh of everything. And with these systems, they can be very complex, and so yeah, we're back doing that, and it's paying off, I think.
Okay, good. So obviously way over, you've got enough now, like you were saying, for around 60,000 ounces for 9 years, which is a good start. I think, what, in your view, where do you want to get to with it? Obviously, most people look for 10 years of mine life with 100,000 ounces a year, right? That's usually the base case.
Yep, good point.
Track to measure. Do you believe you can find that in the South Zone that you've already delineated a resource on, or is this more about finding now satellite potential around the existing deposit?
No, that's a good question, because we've also, which I should note, so at the South Zone we have the 650,000 ounces, which includes intercepts 17 meters of 24.5 grams. We got up to 37 meter wide veins there, but 2 kilometers to the northwest we made our highest grade drill intercept. That discovery was 23 meters of 37 grams. That is not in our resource, nor is the Franz or Alpine zone. So we just figure with the way things are in the market, reading the room, it's probably not the time to put out an updated resource. We want to find more than, say, 50% extra. We want to find more. So I think we're fairly comfortable with what's at the South Zone. We've added more ounces, though not on paper, but we've added them in the ground. So our goal is to find, as you mentioned, 100,000 ounces a year. Some are, depending who you're talking to, some see bigger than that. Yep. I think, to put it bluntly, this will be a mine one day. It's just depending who's going to be running it will be but to answer your question in a more long-winded way, we want to find more 2, 3, 4, 5 more South Zones would be that's kind of the aggressive nature of our exploration now, is to really step out, test these satellite anomalies, and find more of these vein swarms. And yeah, so I think we're probably South Zone and that 4 kilometer mineralized trend. I think we've seen enough there. I think, not to say there can't be more there, but I think we're really focused on finding another large, more South Zones.
Okay, all right. But those, in terms of the high grade nature of it, and the widths that you're getting, I mean, it's very unlike other mines in Canada, or high grade underground mines in Canada, where you're, especially like in the Red Lake district or wherever else, where it's very narrow, thin veins. It's very expensive to go and drill these things. It sounds like you guys are in a bit of a different terrain, where you're actually getting pretty nice mineralization and whips within the drill intercepts that you are getting. Yeah,
I mean, we had even our intercept, our second big intercept in 2018 was 46 meters of just under 10 grams, and that was a 20 meter wide vein. Like, wow. It's okay. So you're seeing this, and like I said, people have looked at this from but as you mentioned, most mid-tier to certainly seniors want to see 100,000 plus ounces, for like you suggested, so get to that million ounce. But I think we're getting close there just with the drilling we've done, but I think now, as mentioned, we want to find a lot more. And
okay, well, obviously you've started a campaign already.
Yep.
I think you started drilling back in March, didn't you?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Talk to me about the exploration model that you're adopting there. I think you've already touched on it a little bit. You were doing some more step out, and you're also doing a bit more greenfield satellite potential. But how many meters were done? What's the current scope of what this year is looking like in terms of the drill bit? How many meters are you actually going to be putting into the ground? How much test work have you already done? Yeah,
good question. So we drilled about 5,000 meters from March till June. We had one drill rig going, and these were very grassrootsy. I call them grassrootsy, as they weren't along the main Zone 1 corridor, so they were kind of newer targets, a bit more risky. A few of the holes we hit anomalous gold. In fact, one we followed up just this recent campaign we can touch on later, but the spring, we call it the spring program, was about 5,000 meters, and from that we delineated 2 targets. So that was 14 drill holes, and 2 of those we're following up just recently as we started this new campaign 2 weeks ago. So, and this drill campaign we have slated for 4,000 meters, and we'll see what comes of that. But the most exciting part, I think, is this newly never drilled target Certes, which is 6 kilometers, like I said, from the south zone, and could open up a whole, but I'm trying to keep my not tone her down a little bit, because this is it looks really interesting on surface, but you never know. And South Zone, I should touch on. South Zone was a completely blind discovery. That was under 100 meters of overburden. There was really no signature on surface that told us drill here. It was very. It was a lot of drilling, a lot of sleuthing. Peter, from what he saw at Kupol, was very, to get to where we got to by hitting that intercept was, it wasn't as easy as, people make it out to be, that there's gold on surface here, you drill underneath. It wasn't like that. And I think Certes is kind of the same way. We're not seeing that typical gold on surface. What we're seeing there is high level pathfinder elements, the mercuries, the antimonies, well, more mercury, but also the texture of the rock. We're seeing what we believe is would make for a fully preserved system underneath there. So that's what we're excited about testing. But to try and tone her down a bit, I think what we hit there is it's not success. If we hit success is different than just drilling into a big quartz vein or a big mineralized chute there. We're looking for alteration. We're looking for things that can show us that we're into a preserved system, and then we'll be follow-up drilling on that. So that's what we're looking for. Hey, I'm not to say we're not going to tag into a high-grade quartz vein, but that's just to keep people's expectations. That's the way I kind of look at it. Maybe some other people on our team are a little more gung-ho about it, but I try to keep my manage expectations. That's exactly
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of the actual exploration model itself, you're talking about 100 meters of till there.
Yeah.
Are you doing base of till? Obviously, that's been quite successful in recent years in finding major discoveries. Have you sort of bottom hole sampling, that sort of thing? Are you doing any of that?
Yeah, we've done. I think we've thrown everything you possibly can at this, trying to get the analog of the South Zone to put that on other parts of the property. Okay. So from CSAMT, DC resistivity, different forms of till sampling, soil sampling to try and get that. But I mean, as the old cliche goes, no two things in this business are alike. It's very, it sounds cliche, but it's, everything's a little bit different, and even all our targets are a little bit different. But when we go to our model, or the way we look at these things and how we come up with our targets, it does take, you want to have a certain collection of those, either geochemistry, geophysics, textures. You want to be, you take a lot of those into account for sure. You can't, really just don't go out there blind and start shooting holes. So it is, but other people, even on our team, we have arguments on what target is better and what people like about it differently. But I think that's very, it's good, and good thing to have in a team is there's, people have differing opinions, and I think that's what makes us a good team. So in terms of our exploration model, that's it. We try and take as much data, and it's collection of data too. Collecting of data, I should say. It's something we've. I think we're very. I think it sets us apart from a lot of companies in the junior mining space, and that's no disrespect. But our data collection and the way we present it and use it, I think is. And we've heard this from other groups who are in our data room looking around, and so I think something we're quite proud of as well.
Good. Okay. All right. So look, as it stands, obviously you sometimes, I don't know if it's always good to do a PEA, because it sort of almost draws a line in the sand, doesn't it, for some people in their mind. But you're trading at 10% of what, in terms of the NPV at the moment, right? But again, it's that point of, I guess people need to believe that this is going to then be developed into a mine or have the scale and get bigger. So, say we were talking this time next year at Beaver Creek. How many more campaigns are you thinking of doing another campaign in the spring? What would you like to be able to tell me this time next year in terms of where the company is? Well,
that's another good question. First off, I'd like to say we'll have had success at Certes and or some of our new targets this year. Hopefully we've followed it up with another program as well, which means the program probably went well that we're following up on. And then I think that most importantly, I think that we're going to have a big budget to attack this property. Not only Shovel Nose, we have outside of Shovel Nose, we have another 20,000 hectares in claim. So, and we're finding lots of stuff on Prospect Valley, which once again goes back to our boots on ground approach. And I hopefully will be working at least 2 of our projects, but Shelvin House remains our focus. But I hope that we'll have, can let the market know that we're going to be attacking this thing very, very strong, and which obviously means money. But I think we'll get there in a way where we want to know what's there, and it's it's the chicken or the egg sort of approach here. And I think now we're coming to the realization that this thing needs a lot of money and a lot of drilling. And I guess that's a good segue to say we just got a 650, well, not just last year, 650 drill hole permit, which is a huge milestone, which was often overlooked, especially in British Columbia, and that took a lot of hard work. Talking to the people in the area, the First Nations, the locals, to get that sort of to get their sort of stamp of approval, and that's something we're also proud of is working within the community there. Half our staff is First Nations, local, and it goes a long way. And that's So next year I think we'll be wrapping this up to sort of the next level to really attack it.
Good. All right. Aggressive plans.
Yes.
Gareth,
yes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.